by Baby Fat Story. Yeah, right now we're going to play an ad for you, just a little ad break, and this ad was actually created and recorded by who, Amanda?
That's actually Paul, who was the leader of the BFM 87.6 radio team.
Yes, and it was actually made by the radio club member from BFM.
We really didn't want to go when Dad told us we were moving. There's so many fond memories. We've grown up in that house and our crown marks are still on the walls. But LJ Hooker made it easy. And now we just love the new place. And you know what? We already have loads of new friends. Thank you, Mr. Hooker.
Nobody does it better. LJ Hooker, you're the best.
Right, that last ad was actually the result of a training process given to the high school students from local high schools. Now, this is the first official broadcast from TCFM, which is what I like to call the Trinity Radio Studio. Yes, of course.
There will be many more schools coming up with other equipment.
Yes, there will be. And so BFM Studio is actually placed here at Trinity College, our school. It's very exciting. Now, this studio staff was trained by Beanley PCYC and is fully managed by us, which is Kylie, Sam, Amanda, and myself, and we are the students of Trinity. Yeah, it's very exciting. Now, soon, all the other high schools around the local area are actually going to be having their own studios, and they'll be able to broadcast and have their students trained by the PCYC BFM team. So that'll be really exciting. And now I'd just like to have a little special note. It's a special greeting. Yes, I'm sending a special greeting to all the VIP team that is presently at the meeting at the PCYC and are listening to this announcement. And to all the high schools in this meeting, your students are going to love this. Yes, this is TCFM 87.6. And now on to some very cool music here. We got Samantha Mombo with I'm Right Here.
Oh, it brings a tear to my eyes. That's what we've worked hard for 18 months. How it came about, Paul had a vision to work with youth, but had to pay the bills at home. I had a vision and went out to try and get a radio station for the club, and thank goodness the Beanley Bowls Club hooked us up together. And it started with a pre-recorded format here, and as you see, we're up and running. And Paul, a man with a great passion, come and lead us through what we're doing.
It's definitely a very special day today. It's also a very humbling experience to be in a room full of probably the heart and soul of the whole community, and it is quite an experience to have everybody here in the same room. I'd like to thank you all for taking the time out of your busy schedules to come here today. We've got an awful lot to try and tell you in a short period of time, to share with you, and hopefully that you can enjoy. We've actually had a one long year of developing a very special program here, which has actually captured the imagination, support, dreams and enthusiasm of the whole community. Now, how often can that happen? We've been lucky enough to strike that magical pot of gold at the rainbow's end. Well, get ready for an adrenaline-filled roller coaster ride over the last year as I actually introduce you to just quickly how we've actually come to pass with getting BFM up and running, and how we actually developed this youth radio program, or this youth development program, which is specifically Beanley Radio, BFM 87.6, and of course the reason why we're all here today, the school radio project. It was a very, as Mark was saying, a very convenient start to a relationship. I wanted to work with community and he wanted to work with radio, and we had the right tools for success right from the very beginning, and I was very flattered to actually be invited to be part of a development program here, working with not only the youth, but very importantly, working with work for the adult participants too. We had developed very quickly a program which is actually going to allow both of these groups of people to benefit from a training structure which basically would allow them to go to air. Now, this was really, really exciting. We developed our rough business plan. We actually set our goals, where we'd like to go. We started looking for our long-term objectives, what we wanted, the tools we wanted to do it, and applying for grants to get it. And we very carefully started executing our business plan. Now, this did a couple of things. It actually introduced a heap of very excited young people into the community and spurred us to move faster and faster and faster. Just to give you an idea, we started off with a training program for the youth of our community. They came every Wednesday night, and for 2 hours each Wednesday night they would go through a training process. Now, this training process was actually run by myself and a whole group of dedicated volunteers. The training process covers all aspects of the radio industry, and I had great exposure and was lucky enough to have this type of exposure in the past. And in conjunction with a training manual that was established by a man by the name of Jim Iliff. Some people may remember this name, and Jim and Melody Iliff. Well, actually, in conjunction with his permission, we actually started a training program based around a book that he wrote, So You Want to Work in Radio. The idea was not to make radio DJs superstars, people who would be the awe of all their friends, even though they did become the awe of all their friends, but the idea was to introduce the young people to an opportunity to grab a part of a whole concept, just a part, and gravitate towards it, and shine, and grow. It was amazing. We introduced at the same time a Work for the Dial program. Now, while we're running this training program for the youth every Wednesday night, we had a daytime activity training Work for the Dial participants in how to actually project their voice, all the normal stuff you would normally use in radio, write advertising copy, start formulating programs, research information, and you know what? It was amazing, amazing the transformation we saw in these people. They would then go running down the hallway. Yes, we've got 15 minutes before we go to air. They'd sit down to get the headphones on, do their little checks, and then they would put a show to air for 2 hours with my direction. But they did a magnificent job, and a couple of people in this room have had the chance of actually hearing that, and I'm sure they will agree too. Of course, what happened? We have heaps of enthusiastic people. We had, just in the Work for the Dial component alone, I know we've talked about it a bit before, but just with the radio aspect, last year BFM had 30 Work for the Dial participants who went through this training course. To date, there is only one who has not got full-time employment, considering that these people were long-term unemployed, covering all varieties of things from taxi drivers to housemaids at Hamilton Island, right down to a five-star hotel marketing manager in Sydney. We've had young people just wander off with the enthusiasm to do all this. Magnificent. The training club, well, that actually spurred us on even faster. All of a sudden, we're getting all these young participants who are actually coming in with stars in their eyes. They realise, hey, hang on, we have to work for this. They start working. They do a magnificent job. We went through 2 training programs last year. Out of that training program structure, we had a variety of young people from grade 10, 11 and 12 in a number of schools. That's why we're talking today. And we also had a variety of young people up to 28, 29 years of age. What did that do? Well, the short of it all, we've got young people from schools who are now, with our help, enrolled in university following a degree training in a media discipline. Now, we've got 2-3 cases of that. We've got young people who actually went out and started their own disc jockey business. They now control disc jockey services that go to all of the clubs in Brisbane. We've got people who wanted to be chefs. Chefs? All right. Why do you want to be a chef and work as a DJ? Oh, well, I want to actually own my own restaurant as well. And this is great for learning people skills. That's a 16-year-old told me that. It was amazing. But more to the point, one of the things that we actually found, we found that the popularity of the station was growing incredibly because these young people were bringing their friends in as listeners and people were starting to talk. Day one, we had to advertise to get people to come into this training program. It took 3 or 4 weeks before we had 16 people. Right? That's the first training program. The second training program, well, we didn't bother to advertise. We passed the word around and we had a small army of people from Trinity came running down very, very quickly. Great. Of course, we had a variety of young people from Beenleigh High in our first program too, which is great. We weren't ready for the radio program at that stage. So in the second program, we had a heap of young kids from Trinity, as you heard, and we had a whole heap of other people come knocking on our door. We're about to commence our third Wednesday night training program. And I'm having to say to people, we've got the next program completely booked unless we start another program. Ah, right. But we did better than that. We started a school radio project. Now, the idea of a school radio project has actually been tossing around the back of my mind for quite a while. The school radio project itself is a chance for the school students to stand up on a public platform, work for the school, display their talents. By the way, by the time they get to the school, like they are now at Trinity, They've been through an extensive training program and they are doing a very professional job, as you all heard. They do a magnificent job. Now they're going to work apart from BFM, like the little fledglings leaving the nest. They're going into Trinity, they're going into Beenleigh High later, they're going into Rivermount, they're going into all the colleges and all the schools around here, Windaroo Valley High and Canterbury as well. And they're going to be running their program in their school, covering school issues, community issues, youth issues, relative to the school and the community that they are working or living in. And boy, the training program has shown that they can do it. I have every confidence in them. We've got two young girls, a young team of people down there, consisting of three girls and a boy, who are currently working at Trinity with my fullest confidence. And as you heard, they're very, very professional. I'm very proud of them. And I'm sure Trinity will be too. What's in store? Well, we're very anxious to actually let all the schools take advantage of our success. The success has given us the motivation to go faster and faster and faster with this project because there's such a demand for it and there's such great benefit. It is amazing the lives that we've actually touched in the last 1 year alone. Yes, we've had a few people come down here. Yes, they've had a chance of learning about radio, but it's changed them. They've gone off in careers. They've actually talked to people. Those people have talked to people. They've started everybody talking about this radio project. Excuse me. So what we're going to do is we're going to speed it along a bit. With the help of our friends from the Gambling Community Benefits Fund, we applied for a grant just recently. We got sufficient funding to get the equipment together necessary to install in Trinity College. There's a considerable amount of money necessary to do that, just to install the basic necessities. Now, because we were trying to get enough equipment for 5 schools, we had to look at a way of getting things rolling without having a huge amount of capital. And once again, with the help from our friends at Gambling Community Benefits Fund, we were able to purchase portable studio equipment and an outside broadcast van, which allows us to go from school to school to school to school. Just tomorrow, for example, we're doing 3 outside broadcasts. We're going to be commenting on the Cane Festival Parade itself, and then we're going to be crossing to 2 schools at the same time. Sorry, let's say we're crossing to 1 school. Rivermount is having a very special day tomorrow, and we're going to be crossing to the Cane Festival Showgrounds, where some of the students from Trinity College are going to be manning an outside broadcast, as is the Rivermount students at Rivermount College. What are they going to be doing? They're both going to be broadcasting back to here at the same time, and both of them are going to be talking to each other. What's happening at Rivermount right now? What's happening down the showgrounds right now? That kind of technology has given us a chance to initiate this program through every school in our listening area. Now, we've had inquiries from schools way outside our listening area. These inquiries as far afield as Parkridge High School, who has said, hey, we'd love to be part of it. Can we send a busload of kids down? We'll pay for it, whatever. Well, I'm afraid we can't really get that working right now. We're committed to the local area and we'd love to do it, but we may have something we can talk about later on. With that enthusiasm, we've got it going. Yes, we can start the training program right now, and a lot of teachers are here from a lot of the other schools. It is great to see you here. It is actually the realisation of a dream of mine to get all of these people in this one room, and particularly the high school teachers and the high school principals from the surrounding schools. It's great to have you here. Your students, as Emily said on air, are going to have a fantastic time. We're going to initiate a training program, and I'm going to be coming out and seeing you next week with your permission, of course, and I'm going to be organising times and relevant to your own schedules to do so, and we'll come out and discuss the implementation of a training program here at the PCYC. There's a number of different ways we can do this. We can do this through training structure during school hours, thus sports day afternoon or something like that, or training structures which are based around about 3:30 to 5:30 right here at the PCYC. We can discuss this later on. The exciting thing about it is we've already got your students knocking on our doors to come here. You're not going to have to sell it very hard at all. It's a very, very exciting project. Now, what's exciting about it is the way it's bringing the whole community together. This one function alone is an indication of the strength that these kids are now starting to yield in the community. We've got the kids going from here. Now they are talking to all of their friends at the school. All the school is now starting to talk about the kids going on air. Those school students go home. They turn their radios on to 87.6. They leave them on there, the parents turn onto it the next day. It's a very, very strong tool, and it's actually working wonders for our youth development program. We estimate that with just one school and our current training program, we would have a chance to touch the lives of a vicinity of 400 or 500 people in 1 year. With 4 or 5 schools, you can start imagining the amount of effect that this program is going to have on the local community. It is mind-blowing. We're looking at a chance to give others the opportunity to sample what we've already established. Yes, the high schools and the colleges from the local area, you are next on our list, and we would love, and we're looking forward to working with you very closely in conjunction with your media teachers so it doesn't conflict with any of your training structures. But we're looking at the possibility of getting a much, much wider area of coverage because we have people like Parkridge who actually want to participate. How do you do that? These little licences are very, very hard to come by. They're a little narrowcast licence. We broadcast in the vicinity around about somewhere between 10, 15, 20,000 homes in the local area, which is very, very significant as far as a little area goes. You start looking country towns, some of the country towns have their own radio stations. They don't have that many houses that they broadcast to, and they're a major radio station. But how do we do it? There's not many radio stations around. Right, so we're looking at a few other options. We're looking at the possibility, the PCYC head office, and we have a large contingent of officials from the PCYC here today, and it's great to see them here. We are looking at the possibility of implementing this program through other PCYCs around the state. Of course, it may be a difficult task to actually find the licence, so you need to look at the possibility of establishing an alternative medium for all of these schools, students and PCYCs to utilise. Thus, we are using BFM here in Beenleigh. How do we do that? Oh, well, there's another Pandora's box we open here. Internet radio is another thing that we're looking at. The feasibility studies are being conducted right now as to the viability of these projects to service the needs of all PCYCs that would like to be part of this program, firstly around Queensland and maybe, who knows, around Australia. Just a thought for you to think on about. This has been a magnificent roller coaster ride that we've actually been through in the last 12 months. And it's been the kind of enthusiasm that has really driven me on to work harder and harder and harder. What are we going to be offering these other PCYCs? We're going to be offering them a complete duplication of what we have done here. Everything, the important, vital ingredients, right through from work for the dial participants taking possession of this radio station, which I must add too. Some of those work for the dial participants we invited to come back and be part of our radio club as well. And an interesting point, one of these participants, now this will get you smiling, one of these participants had a degree in criminology, but he was still long-term unemployed, lacked the motivation, lacked the drive to get out and do something. Since doing this radio program, initially firstly through the Work for the Dial program and then the radio training course, which he has regular shows on air now, he has now decided to go back and do a biochemistry degree at university. He's gone out and started delivering pizzas at night time, and he works every spare moment he has in a second-hand shop to fund all of his activities and come here to do a radio show. And this is a gentleman who is long-term unemployed. We're going to be duplicating everything that we've done here, wherever possible, around Queensland. And the feasibility, as I said, the feasibility studies are being conducted right now to see if that is possible. Just a thought for a moment. I've given you a whirlwind roller coaster ride over what we've done here. There's a lot more we can talk about, heaps more, and I'll make myself available after this for question time and later if you want to phone up and discuss things. I've shown you that we've actually touched a huge amount of lives in the local area. And it actually has been very, very warmly received by everybody. We have tonight, for example, yes, I've got a big function here today. It's great to see everybody here. 40, 50 people. Tonight I've got 50 young people and all their proud parents coming to a break-up party of this latest radio club. We're going to take over one whole half of this building. These people are coming to share their happiness and their sadness with the completion of a program. I've shown you how an entire community can be focused around a single event. Now, obviously, once again, there's an opportunity in this area for so many people to work together for the common good. I've had the privilege and pleasure of speaking to many of the individuals. There's a lot of people I haven't had time to speak to. As you came in the door, I was thinking, I know him, I have to talk to him, and I was still running past him to get something done. We've had a chance to work with many different groups. One classic example, we're actually in the process of striking up a relationship with a couple of different organisations around town. And in particular, one organisation from Logan Home is thinking along the same lines as we are. We have submissions in for all kinds of things happening with their head office approval about the big picture of what we're doing. And a classic example is this particular thing here, which Tasha Kemlin, I think it's Kemlin, is it? Tasha Kemlin? Recently married, I had to remember that. From the good guys at Logan Home has started a reward, a Good Kid for Today. Now this is an unselfish act reward program for young people that the Logan Home good guys are actually conducting. It's recognising local area community talent from the youth, right? And those youth members who actually unselfishly dedicate their services and do unselfish things for the community actually get rewarded just with a little token, a certificate, picture in the paper. They go into the state finals, they go into the national finals, and they have a chance of being recognised and probably win some great prizes too. That's not what it's all about. This is a classic example of some of the things I'm noticing here. I talk to some people, and hopefully later on you're going to hear from a couple of those people about the possibility of working together to get the result done. We've developed a powerful tool. I've shown you the number of lives. I've told you about the number of lives we've actually touched. I've told you how whole communities have actually focused on what we're doing to share in our excitement, right? I've given you a glimpse of what the future may hold. Right? Now, the future is very, very exciting. I have many a sleepless night over this. There's huge amounts of things that can be done. Every time we open one door, there's two more doors we can go through. I'm the type of person who wants to open both of those doors. Now, my manager, by the way, Mark, he says to me, if you go through both of those doors, you're only applying 50% of effort in either area. Close one, don't forget where it is, and come back to it. Is it right, Mark? I've collected a whole cupboard full of drawers and doors. It's amazing. I've shown you all the things that we're doing. I've given you an insight into some of the strengths of this program, how it's actually pulling and capturing whole communities and helping them to work together. And this venue is one classic example of the power this type of thing is actually displaying, encouraging people to work together for the benefit of the whole community. I've given you a taste of where we're going in the future. Just imagine, keeping in mind what I was telling you about the number of lives that we've actually touched here so far, the number of lives we're hoping to touch here within the next 12 years, that's 12 months, 12 years, probably going to be 6 months. Let's have a look at the strength of this program and how it's going to affect the number of lives. Just imagine where we're going to be in 12 months' time if we start spreading our wings and letting other people share this program well. It's an amazing thought. It's a question I'm going to leave you with. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to open the floor to questions, and if anybody would like to speak, Alan is going to wander around and bring the microphone down. Please raise your hand and Alan will come down to you. Please, Alan.
To be here for such an occasion, and of course to have Trinity students, because it is the beginning of something that I hope and we understand will go to all the schools in the area. And all the schools thankfully get on very well. And I think form a very significant and strong part of the community of Beenleigh. And I certainly am appreciative of the support from the other schools, secondary schools in the area. But most of all, of course, today we are very appreciative of the support from PCYC. It's a combined effort, as Paul has said, and it's a two-way thing. We certainly get a lot from PCYC, and we like to think that we contribute also to the activities of the community in Beenleigh, as do all the schools in the area. But in particular, I would like to thank Paul. He came along with an idea. Our children went along to see how it was. Angela, our teacher, went along to see what was going on here. And we came back and said, sounds good. Where's it go? We might try, see what happens, and we've been delighted. Just before I left today, we have a little studio set up in an editing suite at the college, and our students were sitting there with all this very impressive equipment sitting around them, with the lights flashing and earphones on, and looking very important, and they are enjoying it and having a ball. And the radio station is broadcast over the school during lunchtime today. How often that will happen, but it's happening today. And I'm sure the whole school community is enjoying it. So again, I'd like to thank Paul and the people from PCYC for all you've done for the schools in the area, and I wish you all the luck in the future of this wonderful training.
Centre Manager of the Beenleigh Marketplace Shopping Centre. Our shopping centre has been part of the Beenleigh community for 5 years now, and we've enjoyed a really good relationship with the Beenleigh PCYC for a number of those years. Their efforts to support and enable the community's youth to reach their full potential are truly commendable, and in turn with the marketplace would like to support the efforts and initiatives of the Beenleigh PCYC. We've made donations in the past to assist with the furthering of programs, and we're extremely pleased to have the opportunity to continue to offer our sponsorship. The reciprocal benefits of this are very exciting for us, with the advertising placement potential of BFM, and it will definitely be our pleasure to showcase some of the extremely strong skills and talents that the youth are learning through this program in our centre. Beenleigh PCYC, and in particular the in-school radio project initiative that you're spearheading here, are something we're extremely pleased to get behind and show our support for. And as a community, I think we can be very proud of that and this fantastic organisation that's showcasing just how motivated and talented they really are.
The editor of the New Queensland newspaper. I guess we have a little bit of an affinity with what's going on here today, in that we have in the last month or so, or almost 2 months now, taken on an entire community, and we've been able to express what this community is saying about itself to the community at large. And it's what we've very much been about. We're very community based, and we want to reach out to the community as much as what it has to us in the time that we've actually been out there. So we'll be going back to our management to see how we might be able to help out some more with the radio station. And congratulations, because it just sounds fantastic. We're going to be working with the youth and the students around the area with our newspaper, and they're going to be writing in our newspaper. And we just think there's going to be some really great partnerships that we can have with the PCYC, with the radio station, and with the schools in the area.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a wonderful opportunity. I'm glad you came to share this moment with me and Mark and the rest of the PCYC team. I want you to realise one thing. I might be standing up here talking to you about it. Yes, I might have had an idea, but there's a small army of people who work behind the scenes to make anything happen. The radio station, the volunteers, the people who come in tirelessly time and time again at their own time to do these things. Right? These people are worth $1 million, but they do it for nothing. Like what happened today, we have a small army of people who are helping to coordinate the activities just so that we could launch this officially to the schools and the business community of the Beenleigh area. I'd like to ask you to take this to your heart. There's a lot of areas where we can talk here. There's a lot of areas for everybody to benefit from this. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you very kindly for attending today. I hope you enjoyed your meal, and hope to have a drink with you very soon. Thank you.